Just like my meat while reading it, Kagurabachi was huge when it came out. So big in fact that it got its own LIMC video made on it. After that, I had to check it out. And though the meme was admittedly pretty funny, there were only 3 chapters out at the time. But now, after almost 14 chapters, is it still the best manga ever made? There's one singular reason for why Kagurabachi blew up as hard as it did. It's simple, and it's the perfect storm of things that appeals to everybody's inner brain-dead 12-year-old. We got the katanas, we got the edgy protagonist, we got the yakuza, we got the gore and action, and we got the mysteries and lore. It's everything cool about your typical shonen crammed into one story that you can't help but have a stupid shit-eating grin on your face while reading it. This, paired with the unironically really good art and cool world, makes it a genuinely interesting read. The story starts with our protagonist, Chihiro, living with his goofball dad. His dad is a famous swordsmith who made swords during the war and is teaching Chihiro how to make them too by making him his assistant. Despite his goofy personality, his dad takes making swords very seriously and wants to pass on the weight of sword making onto his son. He tells Chihiro very sternly that the swords can be used for evil, and by being their maker, he is complicit in any evil they are used to commit. But one day, Chihiro's dad is killed by a mysterious group of sorcerers who steal the 6 special swords he made during the war. Chihiro, with the final 7th sword his father left behind, wants to get revenge on the sorcerers who killed his dad and stop the swords from being used for evil. It's a pretty simple plot setup, and Chihiro's dad is like a cool background character who I'm sure the author is going to expand on and reveal more things about as the story goes on. There's a bunch of things that the author can flesh out, like the background of the war, the plot with the Medal of the Swords, and the upcoming auction arc. The characters are okay. By far the most interesting character is Chihiro's dad, but he only shows up in the first few chapters and in flashbacks. Later on in the manga, I say later, but there's only like 14 chapters, they introduce a bunch of different characters Chainsaw Man style. But the designs are kind of uninspired, and so far they haven't had the time to get fleshed out, so they're just a jumble of catchphrases and character quirks right now. Chihiro's dad is a really cool character because despite his personality, you can tell that there's more mysteries under the surface. Despite there only being around 14 chapters out right now, you'll still have a really good time reading Kagurabachi, and despite how much I like it, I have a surprisingly small amount to say about it. Oh wait, I can talk about the hard part about the Kagurabachi meme from nearly 3 months ago is finding out where it stops being ironic. On one hand, you have genuinely cool edits and funny memes hyping up the first chapter, but on the other hand, you have 10 to 15 minute videos talking about how a manga with only 3 chapters out at the time is going to be the next Demon Slayer. It's not so bad on YouTube, but Jesus Christ, the Reddit page is a case study into the illness that is being a manga fan sheep. The dick writing and overhyping is so bad that I can't tell when they're being ironic and when they're being serious. It's not so bad nowadays because it's contained in their own fan base and they can do whatever they want in their own space. But I remember very clearly when chapters 1 to 3 were coming out and how obnoxious all the Kagurabachi fans were. And the catalyst for that whole shit show was this manga animation. I don't know if I'm overreacting or if I'm remembering it worse than it actually was, but the extremely vocal minority among the really funny memes was so annoying. It was like a My Hero Academia situation. The manga looked cool, but I just didn't want to read it because the people around it were so annoying. All that being said, though, it's kind of died down, so I recommend reading it. The art is really good. 10 out of 10 best manga ever made, peak fiction. Nah, I'd Kagurabachi in my malevolent kitchen after I've left it all behind.
Nah, I'd win.